always assumed that life was solitary. If you were lucky, you would find a mate and raise a family. If you weren't lucky, well, the sands are filled with the bones of the unlucky. I did not mean to linger on my childhood. I know that you have far more pressing questions in my early life. My existence has most likely caused you to question many things. I saw when you walked in here you clasped onto your necklace a crucifix. It does not bother me, so don't worry. Although I would prefer my progeny not expand their ideals beyond me. Pray to your god of the sands if you must. Maybe he will listen to my tale too, although I doubt it. He has not bothered to answer me before. You see, as I aged, I traveled further and further into the jaws of the desert. Seen every square meter of the Nile, every forgotten oasis, every dried river, every petrified forest. And still one thing intrigued me more than all of it. It was, at first, a petty fascination with creatures that my mind could not understand. These tall, upright things that seemed so unlike any other beast I had ever seen. They made their nest in large clusters and built mounds in the earth in a manner that seemed so unnecessary for either food or shelter. They spent their time amongst each other instead of hunting and surviving. Somehow they clipped the claws of the beast that came for us all. I will admit that at the time, I did not understand it in the same way I explained it to you now. I was far simpler back then. I was a creature of instinct, not intellect. Though that would soon change, and not by my hands. My time amongst the upright things made me lazy. My food was easy to come by, and the upright things kept their distance from me. I could sleep in their nests in areas they could not reach. I could avoid the perils of life away from them. Soon, I found myself reliant on the upright things, and soon my muted senses would fail me. The upright things captured me, and as soon as they had me, there was no escape. They towered over my form and bound my arms. I lived in the desert long enough to know what would soon happen to me. The upright things took me to one of their mounds larger in size than any other in the cluster. Many of them mobbed and screeched inside. They were decorated in shiny rocks and the remains of previous prey. I knew that I was certain to meet my end and be one with the desert that I love so much. My instincts caused me to thrash and attempt to escape from my captors, but my mind, calm and ready to embrace death. However, death was not what awaited me. The upright things placed me down in the middle of the mound on a high pedestal so that all could see me. One of them screeched loudly over the crowd and moved about in strange motions. It gyrated and spun on lanky legs and moved its long arms over its head. It held in its hands a stick not used for building material or attracting a mate. Above me, I saw the thing that changed me to what you see before you. It reached down with long arms, much longer and more numerous than any of the upright things. It did not speak or yell as they did. Instead, it grabbed me and ripped my mind, emptying me from my shell, and for the first time I felt my thoughts separate from my instinct. I could feel me. You seem confused. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to explain what it is like to be born. You see, at that moment, I was born anew. My mind was rewired, my thoughts were undone and remade. Now, I could understand the upright things and what they were saying. I was in the presence of a horrible, writhing maker of gods. The upright things called it many names. Their screeches were prayers to this writhing god, a show of devotion to receive its love and blessings. However, they did not know that this god was not a creator. It had no love or blessings to give. It was of death. Its breath stunk of rage. It stripped me of my flesh with its thrashing appendages and redesigned my form to look like that of the upright things. Its voice penetrated deep into my now greatly expanded intellect. It told me to lead them. I had to guide the upright things so that it could one day have its feast. The upright things were not yet ready for assimilation. Their minds were not yet ripe. The writhing god showed me the harvest that would one day come, and I set out to accomplish this task. The writhing one presented me to the upright things as their prophet. It named me Amun. At first, I had no qualms with herding the upright things. It was the rule of the desert to eat and be eaten. I thought that the upright things were no different than any other beast in the field. They tried to separate themselves from this cycle with ingenuity. It was foolish, and yet it was beautiful. As generations of upright things came and went, my love for them only grew. I taught them many things, sciences, philosophies, mathematics, and in turn they taught me compassion and love. It would take many years, but soon I would find that this was not a fair trade. And it was I that came up lacking. As decades turned to centuries, the upright things gave me a name as well, and divinity. They called me Ra, and I became their god of gods. I could not betray them to the fate that would soon await them, so in secret I constructed a tablet that could seal away the writhing god. Once the deed was done, I placed him in a tomb far to the east. I would return to that tomb every night to ensure that it did not escape. But now I have grown so weak and old, and soon I shall return to the sands. I cannot travel to the tomb like I once could. There is no magic or technology that can hold the writhing one forever. So now it is time for humanity to take care of itself. Leave us gods in the past. Let us rest in the desert where we belong. I did not ask them to bring you to me to save humanity. My precious upright things. No, it is far too late for that. In the coming days, all I want is for you to survive. Hello guys, it's me. I just wanted to come in here at the end to remind you to like and subscribe. So if you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, be sure to like and subscribe, tell your family and friends about it, come back next week to see if I do any better. I did also want to tell you guys that, if you like SCP related content, but not always like the doom and gloom, I am also creating a TikTok in which I go over what it's like to work as a SCP Foundation's LAI division employee, which is essentially, and of course it's lighthearted, so if that's more your speed, you might actually like those videos as well. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it. I'm out.